"Oh, hello there! Come in! Come in! Sit yourself down. There's a warm spot just for you. The fire's crackling and the night is chilly. Perfect for a story, don't you think? Now let me tuck this blanket around you. Are you ready for a tale? Good. Let me begin at the start, with a little mouse who couldn't sleep. Once upon a time, best beloved, the Glen was dressed in its winter finery, with frost sparkling on the hedgerows and the barns warm with laughter. It was the Foolish Fortnight, that merry muddle of days when no one worked and everyone danced and sang and behaved, well, foolishly. But I must tell you how the moon and the stars came to know all about it. Mouse could not sleep, not for all the blankets and burrows in the world. She wriggled and turned and flopped about until finally she peeped her little whiskered nose out into the crisp night air. Above her, the moon was hanging low, lazy as a cat on a sill, and the stars were scattered across the sky like crumbs from a baker's best loaf. "Oh, Moon," squeaked Mouse, for she was a polite sort of creature and always began with the proper greeting. "Why is everyone in the Glen awake tonight? I hear fiddles and footsteps and the clinking of mugs, and I simply cannot settle." The moon smiled her silvery smile, the one she saves for nights like these, and she said, "Little Mouse, this is the Foolish Fortnight, the time when all work is put away and the Glen comes alive with merrymaking. But don't take my word for it, ask the stars. They see everything, from the barn dances to the hedgerow kisses." The stars, who were always eager to chatter, began to twinkle-tell their tales. "We saw them hanging the kissing bush," said one star, bright and bold. "A great hoop of holly and ivy, and oh, how they laughed and blushed beneath it." "And we saw the white boys," said another, smaller star, with a voice like the tinkling of icicles. "They were dressed in their finest costumes, acting out their play with saints fighting and dancing and coming back to life." "And the mollag bands," said a particularly cheeky star, who had seen a great deal in her time. "Oh, the noise they made, thumping their drums and swinging those funny squishy mollags, if you please, and chasing anyone who wandered too near." Mouse's whiskers twitched in surprise. "But why do they do all these things? It sounds most peculiar." The moon chuckled softly, her light rippling across the snow. "It is peculiar, little Mouse, but it is also tradition. Long before anyone thought to make Christmas quiet and serious, the people of the Glen knew that winter was the time to let loose, to laugh, and to be a little bit wild. The Foolish Fortnight is their way of celebrating life and love and light in the darkest days of the year." "And don't forget the lair vein," chimed in a star who had been quiet until now. "The white mare, with her snapping jaws and great painted head, chases everyone about until she is sent away with much laughter and relief." Mouse's eyes grew round as berries. "And what about the fiddler? I heard someone say something about a head being lost." "Oh, yes," said the moon, with a gleam of mischief. "The cutting off the fiddler's head. He lies his head in a young woman's lap, always a brave thing to do, and pretends to lose it, all while predicting who will marry whom in the coming year." Mouse thought about all this for a moment. Then she asked, "But why does it have to be foolish? Couldn't they celebrate quietly, like the owls do with their winter hoots, or the deer with their gentle walks in the snow?" The stars laughed, and their laughter sparkled across the sky. "Oh, little Mouse, it is because foolishness makes the heart light. In the darkest days, laughter is the best kind of warmth." The moon leaned down, her voice as soft as moonlight on a still pond. "And it is how they remember that joy and togetherness are the truest gifts of all." Mouse, being a practical sort, nodded her whiskered head. "I suppose that makes sense, But it's all very exciting. How am I supposed to sleep with all this merriment about?" The moon and the stars winked at one another. "Well, little mouse," they said together, "perhaps you shouldn't. Not tonight, at least. Some nights are meant for sleeping, but others, oh, others are meant for listening and wondering and dreaming wide awake." And so Mouse sat on her haunches and watched the glen below, where the barns glowed with candlelight, the fiddles sang, and the laughter of the people rose into the night. She watched until her little eyes grew heavy and her heart grew warm. And then, just before dawn, she curled back into her nest and dreamed the most foolish, wonderful dreams. And that, best beloved, is how the moon and the stars told Mouse the tale of the foolish fortnight, and why she finally sleepily learned that foolishness, too, has its place. And that brings us to the end of our story. Thank you so much for listening and for spending a little time with me here in the Glen. I hope you've enjoyed this tale as much as I've loved sharing it with you. If you'd like to wander back soon, be sure to like and subscribe to Victoria Beata's Storybook channel. There's always a new story waiting just for you, so don't be a stranger. Come back soon, and until then, may your days be full of wonder. Take care, and goodbye for now.